Clean, clean, clean. When I was in Warsaw, Poland, at the end of 2006, I decided to introduce the idea of zero limits and the zero state to my audience. I had been there speaking for 2 days about hypnotic marketing and my book, The Attractor Factor. I found the people to be open-minded, loving, and eager to learn. So I taught them what I've shared with you here, that you are responsible for everything in your life, and that the way to heal everything is with a simple I love you. Though the audience needed a translator for my presentation, they seemed to absorb my every word. But one person asked me an interesting question. People here in Poland spend all day praying to God and going to church, but yet we have had war. Our city was bombed by Hitler. We lived under martial law for years, and we have suffered. Why didn't those prayers work, and what's different with this Hawaiian one? I paused to consider the right answer, wishing Dr. Hulen was here to help me. In the moment, I gave this reply. People don't get what they say so much as what they feel. Most people who pray don't believe they will be heard or they will be helped. Most people pray from a place of desperation, which means they will attract more of what they are feeling, more desperation. My questioner seemed to understand and accept my answer. He nodded. But when I returned to the States, I wrote Dr. Hulen and asked him what he would have replied. He wrote back the following email.
Awo Akua, thank you for the opportunity to clean with whatever is going on in me that I experience as your question. An American showed up in the class that I did in Valencia, Spain 2 years ago. Quote, my grandson was ill with cancer, she said to me in a break. Quote, I prayed for him, asking that he not die, but he died anyway. How come? Quote. My reply, quote, you prayed for the wrong person. I said, better to have prayed for yourself, asking forgiveness for whatever was going on in you that you experienced your grandson as being ill. People don't see themselves as a source of their experiences. Rarely are prayers directed at what is going on in the petitioner, by the petitioner. Peace abide, Ihaliakala Hulen.
I loved his perfectly honest answer. Again and again, his theme is that nothing is outside of us. When most people pray, they act like they have no power or responsibility. But in Ho'oponopono, you are totally responsible. The prayer is to ask for forgiveness for whatever is in you that caused the outer circumstance. The prayer is a reconnecting to the divine. The rest is trusting the divine to heal you. As you heal, so does the outer. Everything, without exception, is inside you. Larry Dossey said it well in his book, Healing Words. We need to recall at these times that prayer, in its function as a bridge to the absolute, has no failure rate. It works 100% of the time, unless we prevent this realization by remaining oblivious to it. One thing bothered me about my work with Dr. Hulen. As I kept growing and having insights, I worried that all my previous books were wrong and were going to mislead people. In The Attractor Factor, for example, I praised the power of intention. Now, years after writing that book, I know intention is a fool's game, an ego's toy, and that the real source of power is inspiration. I also now knew that agreeing to life is the great secret to happiness, not controlling life. Too many people, myself included, were visualizing and affirming in order to manipulate the world. I now knew that isn't necessary. You're better off going with the flow while constantly cleaning whatever comes up. I began to feel like Neville Goddard must have felt. Neville is one of my favorite mystical writers. His early books were about creating your own reality by turning feeling into fact. He called it the law in such books as The Law and the Promise. The law referred to your ability to influence the world with feeling. The promise referred to surrendering to God's will for you. Neville began his career by teaching people how to get what they want with what he called awakened imagination. The short description of that phrase refers to Neville's favorite quote, "Imagining creates reality." His very first book was titled At Your Command, which I later republished. In it, he explained that the world is at your command. Tell the divine or God what you want, and it will deliver it. But by Neville's later years, after 1959, he had awakened to a greater power, that of letting go and letting the divine operate through you. The thing is, he couldn't recall his earlier books like a car manufacturer might recall a defective car. I have no idea if they upset him or not. I'm guessing not. He left them in the world because he felt the law was useful to help people get through the bumps in life. But I wanted to recall my books. I felt they were misleading people. I told Dr. Hulen that I felt like I was doing a disservice to the world. Your books are like stepping stones, Dr. Hulen explained. People are at various steps along the path. Your books speak to them where they are. As they use that book to grow, they become ready for the next book. You don't need to recall any books at all. They are all perfect. As I thought of my books of Neville, of Dr. Hulen, and of all the readers past, present, and to come, all I could say was, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. Clean, clean, clean.